Jerry, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you, bro. Where's your curve? Up the road.
on behalf of the Boston and Simmons families, we welcome you into this gathering, which is made sacred with the spirit of love and friendship that you bring to this moment as we celebrate the life of our beloved Carolyn Jumoke Boston. I want to thank those of you that are joining us both in person and those of you who are joining us via live stream. Again, we thank you. As we start this memorial service, we ask for the presence of the Holy Spirit in this place. May comfort and peace be brought to every one of us in our mourning. May we celebrate this dynamic spiritual being known on this plane as Jumoke, while holding steadfast in our knowing that death is but only a doorway on our eternal journey to everlasting joy. Death is not extinguishing the light. It is only putting out the lamp because the dawn has come. And so it is. Ashe. We will begin with Dr. Charles Simmons, who will open the way and tribute our ancestors.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I am honored to participate in a libation ceremony, excuse me, in remembrance of Carolyn Jumoke Boston. Libations is a ceremony as a way of inviting the ancestors into the space and welcoming their blessings and protection. It is not a worship of ancestors, but a welcoming of our beloved into the arms of our ancestors. A libations is the pouring of a liquid or grain as a sacrifice to a deity or to ancestors to esteem, remember, and or memorialize. This ritual is as old as Africa itself. Libations have existed wherever and whenever Africans have existed and migrated, including the passage from West Africa into the Americas. Many people of African descent, wherever they are located, have carried their traditions with them, and libations are no different. This ritual is important to people of African descent for a variety of reasons, including spiritual connection, ancestral and inclusion, communal contribution, cultural identity, and personal meaning. It is important to me for these same reasons and to honor our homeland, Mother Africa, as the origin and the connector. This tradition of libations is a demonstration of honor, respect, and inclusion. Libations serve as a medium to invite the Creator and those who have transitioned to bless us and to join us. We want them to know that we remember you. We have not forgotten you. Along those lines, from an Afrocentric view, our ancestors are always with us or still with us. So we do not call them the departed. Instead, we use transition or other similar descriptors to refer to those who are deceased. A libation or ritualistic pouring is a way to call on our ancestors or anyone dear to us who has passed on into a space for presence, guidance, and protection. The libation ceremony is performed to show our connection to heritage and our connection to those who are in the room, as well as those who are with us who have passed on into the afterlife. Before I begin, I ask the most senior elder, do I have your blessings to continue? And Jamal, Next to me, I think you're probably the
Yeah.
oldest. Thank you.
Please continue.
I will call Jumoke's name, after which Jamal will pour libations, and together we say Ashe. The Yoruba word Ashe is commonly used because it translates as Amen or so be it. Then I invite you to join in and one by one call out the names of ancestors from your own family or the names of historical figures who are not related. After each name, excuse me, Jamal will pour libations, and together we will pronounce Ashe. Excuse me. Is this better? Nope. Oh, it's not on. Wait a minute. Testing. It's not on. It's not on.
Continue. They passed this to me. Continue. Sorry to interrupt.
An African proverb, an African proverb tells us that people who lack the knowledge of their past are like a tree without roots. So in the spirit of remembrance, we pour this libation, we pour to honor the past so that we may learn from it. We pour to honor the importance of family. It is said that through others, we are somebody. Through this ceremony, we broaden our family circle, remember our heritage, and recall those who gave us life. We call upon our ancestors, the foundations of our families, immortalized in our thoughts. We call upon our elders, whose wisdom we seek in all endeavors, our friends, whom we are blessed to have in our lives, and our parents, who guided us along the road to adulthood. We call upon family who have passed over and could not be here today. We ask that they be with us in our thoughts. Now, in the spirit of remembrance, we pour this libation to Carolyn Jumoke Boston.
Ashe.
Ashe. Now I ask you to call out the names of relatives or others, after which Jamal will pour libations, and together we will say Ashe.
Vivian Simmons.
Ashe.
Lloyd Simmons.
Ashe.
Bernadette Simmons.
Ashe.
Subhanallah Ali.
Ashe.
Yabo.
Ashe.
Robert Brown.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Henry Hullum,
Ashe.
Madeline Davis.
Ashe.
Belva Hullum,
Ashe.
Eva Boston.
Ashe.
Frank Boston Sr.
Ashe. Ashe.
Ruth Boston.
Ashe.
Maggie Parker.
Ashe.
Frank Boston Jr.
Ashe.
Violet Brown.
Ashe.
Delroy Salim.
Ashe.
Brianna Hullum,
Ashe.
Sylvia Boston.
Ashe.
Marie Simmons.
Ashe.
John Brelner.
Ashe.
Carmen Boston.
Ashe.
Margaret Brown.
Ashe.
Karen DeClerc,
Ashe. Ashe.
Patrick Boston.
Ashe.
Harriet Tubman.
Ashe.
Trina LaShawn.
Ashe.
Beverly Boston.
Ashe.
Joy Boston.
Ashe.
And for all those great warriors who struggled on our behalf and helped us to be resilient and survive the atrocities of North America.
Ashe. 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 Thank you so much. May our children one day find it proper to call out our names. based upon the good work that we perform in our lives. Thank you. Put that one back up here.
Check, check.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Just want to thank everybody for coming out and helping us celebrate the life of our mother. I've got a poem to read called Sunsets. I see you as the sun passes over the rim of the horizon, as the last threads of sunlight kiss the tops of the trees. I see you and the stars thrown over the night sky, beautiful little wonders shining just as boldly as you lived. They're a reminder of how you told me to live, to shine despite the darkness, to shine because we have no choice but to. I will see you always in the big and small parts of every day, in every sky, in every place that touches the well-traveled crevices of my heart. I will smile as we meet each other.
Can y'all hear me? Yes. Okay. All right. Carolyn Jumoke Boston, age 74, of Baltimore, Maryland, made her transition on Wednesday, December 22nd, 2021. Born on August 9th, 1947, Jumoke graduated from Frederick Douglass High School in 1965 and later matriculated at Sojourner Douglas College, where she worked for 10 years as assistant to the president. Charles Simmons. She was a proud graduate of the Inner Visions Institute for Spiritual Development in Silver Spring, Maryland. Here, she learned how to walk in her divinity and dedicated every moment to cultivating and encouraging a life filled with joy, peace, and limitless abundance. A natural artist and former DJ at KKFI-FM, 90.1 FM in Kansas City, Missouri, Jumoke established her own publishing company, Juju Seeds Media, where she edited and was instrumental in producing several works, including 5 illustrated children's books and 2 books of poetry written by her sons, Mark and Gary. She enjoyed photography, sculpting, drawing, music, traveling, and learning new skills to grow her freelance work as an editor and designer of the most beautiful publications. She was passionate about the safekeeping of children and advocated for teen mothers and children in the foster care system as an employee and volunteer for several organizations, including AmeriCorps Vista, Aunt Hattie's Place, and Neutral Ground. Jumoke was a vibrant woman with a great sense of humor and an even bigger smile, who loved a good jazz show, an afternoon at the farmer's market, a family gathering, and a few hours spent watching the birds, especially cardinals from her beloved front porch. And as you see on your tables, we do have packets of bird seeds with cardinals that you can feed the birds in her honor. She was the 7th of 8 children, born to Virginia and Floyd Simmons, and adored her big family. She was survived by 4 children, Mark, Khalid, Gary, and Andrea Boston, daughters in love, Rachel, Deanna, and Aaron, brothers Floyd, Dr. Charles, and Joseph Jamal Simmons, and sister Phyllis Medina Salim. Grandchildren Marley, Delaney, Journey, Gabriel, Eli, McKinley, Cameron, Quinn, Merrick, and August. Niece Kristen Peanut Brown, nephew Stephen Brown, and a host of cousins, nieces, nephews, extended family, and friends. Her passing is preceded by sisters Bernadette Gregg and Sapanala Ali, brother Eugene Simmons, and baby son Patrick Angel. Jumoke, a Yoruba name that means everyone loves the child, was one of the kindest and most generous, Lord have mercy, people, sorry, people you could ever meet.
She opened her heart and home to many over the years, and she is sorely missed. Thank you.
Good evening to the family and friends. How y'all doing? Y'all all right? My prayers and condolences are certainly with all of you. And if I may I ask a question? Have y'all ever been to any event where when someone is assigned to do something, they want to get up and give a whole dissertation? Anybody? I'm not one of those people. So I'm gonna sing and get out your way, all right? Not a second or another minute, not an hour or another day. But at this moment with my arms outstretched, I need you to make a way, as you have done so many times before. Through a window or an open door, I stretch my hands to you. Come rescue me. I need you right away. I need you now. I need you now. I need you now. Not a second or another minute, not an hour or another day, but Lord, I need you right away. If I've ever needed you before, to show up and restore all of the faith that I let slip while I was yet searching the world for more. The truest friend I have indeed. You're the best friend I know and need. I lift my hands to you. Come rescue me. I need you right away. The agony of being alone, the fear of doing things on my own, these tests and trials that come to make me strong. Trials that beat up on me, but to know, Lord, that in you I've got victory. I need you now, Lord, I need you now. I need you right now, I need you now. Not another second or another minute, not an hour, another day. But Lord, I need you right away. Lord, I need you right away. Right away.
Calvin Little for that wonderful musical tribute. Dua, Ankin Ma'at Hetep. Greetings to Khalid, Gary, Giga, Dad. Greetings Floyd Jr., Charlie, Jamal, Medina. Members of the Boston and Simmons family, extended family, dear friends, and to those ancestors whose energies are with us. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Reverend Mark Boston, and I'm the oldest child of Gary Boston and Carolyn Jumoke Simmons Boston. Today we gather once again in this place to pay our last public tribute of respect to a beautiful child of God, the seventh born of Floyd and Vivian Simmons, Carolyn Jumoke Simmons Boston. She walked on stage nearly 75 years ago, and in all those years she made her unique mark on the world, and she played her various roles exceedingly well. Now the curtain falls, and as she moves stage right, the drama of her earthly life has come to a close. She is now committed back to eternity, that infinite source from which she came. She left us unexpectedly, but she lived a most authentic and selfless life. Some might even call it a noble one. She will be remembered and counted as one of our heroines for the life she lived and as a crusader for personal freedom and human dignity. We've gathered in this space before to honor the memories of Uncle Eugene, our man Yabo, and Aunt Supan, Subhanallah Ali. And I'd like to mention the names of those in the family who have also recently departed from our ranks. Delroy Salim, Aunt Carmen Boston, and Aunt Beverly Boston. And we know that the ancestors have welcomed them with open arms. Their departure from this earthly plane feels like a loss. But to lose someone is to suggest that they are no longer a part of you, that they've disappeared, or that you can no longer find them in your heart. When someone makes their transition, they pass from this life form to the next. And each time this happens, we are reminded of the fact that our time on earth is impermanent. However, those who step through the veil into their new beginning aren't gone, because these people still have a special place in our hearts. No matter the time or distance or pain we feel in watching their souls leave their temporary bodies, their being shaped the way we continue to live. Their impact guides our decisions, our choices, and our emotions still. The way they lived teaches us how to behave, even when they are no longer by our side telling us what to do. We hear them in our heads before we do something reckless. We feel their presence as we take pride in our biggest accomplishments. They will forever live in us, in how we think, act, laugh, and love. They teach us, they give us strength. They keep us grounded when we lose ourselves in the messiness of life. The ones we love, they don't simply fade or disappear into the fabric of our past. They are intricately woven in, permanently, beautifully. They are with us, even when they cannot inhabit our spaces physically. They are never permanently gone because their strength and the measure of their love lives forever in our hearts. Those of us who love Jumoke, those of us who are sending her to her final rest today, pray that all she was to us and what she wished for others will someday come to pass for all the world. More than anything else, Mom wanted to help people reach their full potential and to help nurture and develop the innate beauty that is all around us. If I had to distill down what my mother wanted for herself and for others most, it could possibly be broken down into two virtuous concepts: authenticity, or truth, and freedom. To be mentally and physically free to live your own unique and authentic life. To be your very own unique expression of the divine manifested on earth. She wanted this both for herself and for all of us who she loved so dearly. My mother had become a deeply spiritual person and had an intuitive understanding of the mysteries of life. And she sought to unravel them in order to use those powers, energies, and concepts to make her life and those she came into contact with more beautiful, more carefree. She was private, yet open-hearted and generous. She was engaging, yet aloof. She was timid at times, but often quite feisty. In every person there is a dual nature, and the choices we make determines which aspects get most utilized. However, just as the adage instructs us to know thyself, she sought to understand and to find a middle ground between her inner extremes. And so on this day, we shall focus on the face that she most often chose to present to the world. She had a great willingness to listen to the inner voice of her heart in an effort to discern the fake from the true. She was a genuine guru, an insightful sage, who was always there to lend an ear. She was there for everyone else so much that we hardly even asked her about her own problems. And she wouldn't hardly get into her own issues even if we asked, or even if you asked her. She was a consummate motivator, full of enthusiastic encouragement for others. She was the head cheerleader for her family and friends. She was caring. She loved the kids. She loved the kids. She was influential in the lives of many young people and formerly young people, many of whom I see in this room today. She worked with and helped to nurture many since they were toddlers and loved talking to them and hearing their funny responses, always creating for them a fun and flexible, loving environment as she was known to do. She cared about the futures of the children in the Black community, and she wanted to motivate young people to know that they are beautiful and intelligent. She was kind and considerate. She never forgot the small stuff like birthdays and anniversaries. And she always followed up with you if she knew you were going through some hardship. This is how she demonstrated how she truly cared. She was thoughtful like that. She was charming and charismatic. She was patient and understanding. She was quick-witted and smart, brilliant with words and the use of language. She was fun. She loved to sing, dance, and play board games. She was competitive too. So I'm 8 years old playing Scrabble with her and Dad, and they're kicking my butt, right? And I mean, not taking it easy on the third grader at all. Here I am just learning how to read and write, and she's still coming up with these supercalifragilistic type words, you know, and being all strategic about it too. Getting double word, triple word score, slam dunking big words in my face. I'm like, dang, Ma, cut me some slack. She loved old movies like Gone with the Wind, It's a Wonderful Life, and Splendor in the Grass, which always made her tear up in the end. And for some reason, The Graduate was her favorite movie. I just found that out a couple years ago. She visited us in Virginia one night, and just her and I were up talking. And our conversation meandered around to movies. And she asked me if I had seen The Graduate. I said, I know about it, Dustin Hoffman and all. But I had never seen it. Well, she must have thought that was sacrilegious or something, because she demanded that we begin streaming it at that very moment. So me and my mom sat up one night and watched The Graduate together. After it was over, she asked me, how was it? I told her it was good. Mom, if you're listening, I'm sorry I lied about liking The Graduate. But honestly, I did not get the appeal. But I'm sure you felt the same way about some of the movies of my youth, like when I was all excited about Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo. So she loved her favorite shows as well. Married at First Sight, Family Feud, Say Yes to the Dress, and Iyanla Fix My Life. Plus she loved documentaries, especially the juicy ones about notorious and diabolical people, cult leaders and such. And she loved a good conspiracy theory. She loved festivals and was big on supporting local creatives. She loved jewelry, clothes, and shoes. Her bedroom closet will attest to that. She loved to entertain, hang, and party, and was a generous hostess. She loved her city, Baltimore. Every summer, she'd bring us back home to Baltimore from Kansas City, where my brothers and I grew up. She'd pack us up the next day after the last day of school, and we wouldn't get back until the day after the first day of school. That's how much she loved being home in Baltimore, surrounded by family and friends. She was a Baltimore girl to her heart, and I can see why. Like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, for my mom, there was no place like home. My mother's connection to family proved to be the foundation of her existence. The family house on Springdale was always full of love and joy, people and parties. When she moved back permanently to Baltimore, her house slowly became the new happening spot. She loved photography and art and was an artist in her own right, who could draw and sculpt. She made the most beautiful greeting cards for any occasion. She loved astrology, numerology, and dream interpretation. And for this, we fondly referred to her as Madame Moke, or simply the Gypsy, both of which she approved of. While she loved to interpret dreams, she had some big dreams of her own. Some were a little far-fetched at times. One of the wildest might have been when she told me years ago that she wanted to be a guitar player in a rock band. And she envisioned the venues that her band played would be packed and sold out. Now, the only problem was she couldn't play guitar and wasn't taking lessons and was nearly 70 at the time. But so many of her other dreams did come true. For example, she wanted to counsel people, so she enrolled in the Intervisions Institute and studied with Iyanla Vanzant, along with all the other accolades that were mentioned earlier. She loved children, and she loved books. So she combined the two and created a book publishing company, Juju Seeds Media, where her and I partnered together to publish 5 children's picture books. I was the writer, and she was the editor, along with several illustrators and a trusty book designer on the team. We've been able to present these books to the world, believing that all children, especially children of color, have the right to see themselves represented in the pages of a book. She also published 2 books of poetry with my brother Gary and 2 biographies with my cousin Patricia. She adored her family, and her grandchildren gave her life, and she loved them fiercely. And the friends she made, both new and old, became cherished comrades for life. Much of what she did and her attitude towards life was related to her belief in something greater than the superficial aspects that we engage with on a day-to-day basis. She sought out the more meaningful expressions of this existence. I didn't always understand her deep well of compassion, but now that she's gone, I think I understand much more. It was my mother's faith that made the impossible possible, especially in my life. Going through the various challenging stages of life as I entered adulthood was difficult. But they were made just a little bit easier because I knew that I could move forward through the adversity, knowing that my mother was always walking through it with me. And boy, did we walk some miles together. She was extremely supportive and encouraging no matter what me and my siblings were going through. She was supportive whether she knew we would take her advice or not. She put up with so much from us and was always there. She was our spiritual role model, guardian, and confidant. She influenced us with regard to style and our diverse tastes in music, and demonstrated how we should conduct ourselves with dignity and how to honor and respect others' differences. She was simply a decent human being who wanted to do the right thing and to live in wholeness and freedom. She was holistic, Afrocentric, a keeper of wisdom, and a cultural custodian, all of which I also strive to be. She always encouraged us to do the right thing and to stay grounded in who we are. God's love is personally felt through the love of a mother. Mothers bring us into this world, and it's hard to imagine a life without them. They're with you when you take your first breath, and often you're with them when they take their last. Saying goodbye to your mother is heartbreaking. It can feel like you are alone in your grief. And learning to navigate life without their physical presence can be very difficult. I was fortunate to find a journal of hers recently, so I was granted great insight into her philosophical thoughts and feelings on certain matters. And one theme that sticks out most from this journal is freedom. The quest for freedom drives so much of what we do. For Mom, it was both earthly freedom and spiritual freedom that she sought. In her own words, she wanted the freedom to come and go as she pleased, freedom to wake and retire when she was ready, freedom to visit friends and travel to far-off destinations and dine in fine restaurants and coffee shops, and to read to her heart's content. In her own words, she desired to continuously raise her consciousness through reading and studying the mystical arts, and then sharing with others through workshops and conferences. Now, to quote her directly, I want to have fun meeting new people and talking and sharing our innermost thoughts and enjoying music and dancing and living and loving and listening to you, God, every nanosecond of every day as you instruct and guide me to each new experience bringing equal or more joy than the last. All of this bringing with it total contentment and peace. Our mother Jumoke denotes far more than just a body which is now gone, but rather a very vast pattern, a style, a set of ideals, principles, and virtues, as well as memories, hopes, dreams, and beliefs. We'll remember her reactions to music, her sense of humor, her self-doubts, her generosity, and her deep well of compassion. And to some extent, all of these things are shared among all of us in this room. The tapestry that is Jumoke is spread out among the various photographs that we all have of her individually and captured in the memories that friends and family have of her in our minds. This spread out tapestry that is Jumoke, that we all share in, is very clearly discernible in this physical world. So in this very real sense, Jumoke survives. She survives to the point that even people who have never met her can see how it was to be near her and around her. They can experience her wit, see her smile, hear her voice and her laugh, hear about her youthful adventures, and watch her interact with her grandchildren. Because of our memories of her, some of Jumoke's consciousness remains on this planet. And if we want the spirit of Jumoke to live on, we must think about her regularly, remember her on our altars, and tell our children about her in detail. In so doing, she will become immortalized. When people are alive, they love. When they die, they keep loving. If love ends when a person transitions, then that wasn't real love. Grief is a potent mix of love and loss, of sadness and remembrance, of cherishing and anger, of guilt and gratitude. The bitter side of this life is its uncertainty and how it seems to fade away so quickly. We all will someday return to our permanent homes, the source of all life. Because we are just passing through this world, we never know when our life-giving energies will fade and our bodies will breathe its last breath. We mourn the loss of our loved ones, but the bigger guilt lies in us asking ourselves why we hadn't done more for them while they were alive. More spending quality time, verbalizing our appreciation or admiration for them, telling them how much we love them for all they've done for us. Regrets? We all have them. I read a quote once that said, "The deceased receive more flowers than the living because regret is stronger than gratitude." From this moment on, let this not be our narrative. Let us spread love like there is no tomorrow and give our people their flowers while they are among us. A wise man once said, or sang, "Tomorrow may never come. For you and me, life is not promised." I left the country, she was here. I came back, and she was gone. My wife Rachel and I went on a study tour of ancient Kemet. I had recently been led to discover for myself the truth about our African history, which has been hidden in plain sight, forgotten and ignored by all but those who would exploit it for their own gain. Mom and I were both deeply thrilled that I had begun to decolonize my mind and find my spiritual path and purpose in this world. We had been communicating back and forth leading up to the trip. She was excited, we were excited. She wanted to know all about the histories and mysteries I was learning, even when she was admitted to the hospital. We texted back and forth, but after a while the texts began to slow down and come in less frequently. I was concerned, but I was busy planning a big trip, and I had just started a new gig working as youth director at a church at home. So needless to say, I let a few days go by without checking in. Those days leading up to the trip, our communication was less frequent, but I wasn't too worried because I knew she'd pulled through. A night or two before we were to leave, who should text from the hospital but Mom? She asked, "What time is the flight?" I told her. Then I told her to please keep getting better. She said, "I will. I have a better outlook now." I said, "I'll be doing some deep breathing visualizations for you. And that was, of all things, the last thing I ever said to my mother. After I texted that, she said, "Thanks for breathing for me. I'm gonna be fine now." And that was the very last thing she ever said to me. She said, "Make the most of this trip." And so we departed for our trip abroad, and that was it. She passed away while we were in Kenya. So regarding her last statement to me, in one way, I feel she wanted us to have a fun trip to Africa and to make the most of our time there, to experience all that we had hoped for by wanting to visit such a sacred place. However, in a spiritual sense, I've interpreted what my mother said as her sending me one final decree to ultimately make the most of this trip through this thing called life. To surround myself with the people I love, to treat others with kindness, and to forgive and let go. We were not expecting her to leave us at this point in time. Life is unexpected. Here 1 minute, gone the next. You better hold this moment with your loved ones close to you. Jumoke said, "Shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see." My mother said, "Shine your light on the world. Shine your light for the world to see." So, Ma, we vow to allow our lights to shine and trust in our intelligent soul design to be beacons of light in a world that is dark, and be courageous enough to provide a spark that will become a mighty flame, taking a slice of the divine which is ours to claim. The pursuit of this endeavor is urgent and essential. We'll strive to unlock our infinite potential, just as you consistently instructed us to do, urging us to live our lives just, righteous, and true. Now your newest adventure is underway, and all your dreams will come true miles away. As you soar to that final mountaintop, where you gather in a celestial coffee shop, having a high old time, we know, with Bernadette, Suphan, and Yabo, and with Boy, Daddy, and Delroy, we know you are experiencing so much joy. You've all joined together as one, and we know y'all are having gobs of fun. Like an old school cookout in July, at that 4404 in the sky. Kick back, Ma. Your soul is now set free. You've come to see your final victory. You'll remain the silver lining in every cloud. And I hope we continue to make you proud. We'll honor you until our dying day. Rest in power, our beloved Jumoke. Ashe. Ashe. Ashe.
I shall wear a crown. I shall wear a crown when it's all over. Ooh. When it's all over, I shall see his face. Oh, yes, I will. I shall see his face when it's all over. Oh, Lord. When it's all over, I'm gonna put on my robe and tell the story how I made it over. Oh, yes, I will. I'm gonna put on my robe and I'll tell the story how I made it over. Oh, I'm gonna put on my robe and I'll tell the story how I made it over. Oh, yes, I will. Ooh. Soon as I get home, soon as I get home.
Good evening.
Never thought this day would come. But as I take a moment and look out at everybody, number one, because you're looking at me, so it's only fair. That was a joke. You feel me? Like, trying to lighten it up. I look out at everybody. I can feel a bit of joy. Can't help but feel a little bit of joy, knowing that my mother is not gone. She's still alive. She's still alive because she lives in all of us.
That's right.
She's here because we're here.
That's right.
She might not be here physically, but as long as you can remember her face and can still know and recognize and hear the sound of her voice, she's not gone. Wherever you are, there she is. Have a breather. This is a portion of a sermon from the early 1900s that was given by a priest named Henry Scott Oliver, just for context. A portion of this sermon was called "Death is Nothing at All." Death is nothing at all. It does not count. I have only slipped away into the next room
nothing has happened. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I, and you are you. And the old life that we lived so fondly together is untouched, unchanged. Whatever we were to each other, that we are still. Call me by the old familiar name. Speak of me in the easy way which you always used. Put no difference into your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed at the little jokes that we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without an effort, without the ghost of a shadow upon it. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There is absolute and unbroken continuity. What is this death but a negligible accident? Why should I be out of mind because I am out of sight? I am but waiting for you for an interval somewhere very near, just around the corner. All is well. Nothing is hurt. Nothing is lost. One brief moment, and all will be as it was before. How we shall laugh at the trouble of parting when we meet again. Jumoke lives on. That's my mother. I don't pray. I'm not a praying person. But I just like to take 10 seconds, have everybody take 10 seconds for a moment of silence. You're welcome to pray. If you don't pray like me, you can think of a memory of my mother, happy or whatever. So, 10 seconds, please. Thank you.
knock on door to door, especially the elders. And I would knock on their door, and when they came to the door, I would say, Miss Chester, can I recite the 100 song? And she was like, sure. And then I would just go ahead and recite it. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. I was so crazy. Dirt in the dust. You know when they dug the ground up and they put him down in there? His body just turns back into everything that's in the ground, but then that part of him that's like the sun and the moon, that just goes back out in the universe. So that's what happens when we die,
So
which
when
is a
you-
beautiful thing.
So, like when you die, you go into the
My body will be in, my body will go under the ground, and this body, this flesh, all of this part right here, turns back into the dirt and the soil. It all just, because that's what the dirt and the soil is made of. And so our bodies go back, skin, bones, teeth, hair, all of that. It goes back into the dirt, and then the most precious part of us, the atoms, the molecules, the soul, the heart, everything just goes back into the universe. Yes, and heaven is like everything. Heaven is everything.
It's
sun
in the
and moon.
sky.
It's not just in the sky, it's just everywhere. It's just everywhere you look.
In China, in Australia, in America, in Barcelona, I can't say anymore.
Everything, because, you know, heaven is a beautiful place. Listen, guys, heaven, let's call heaven the universe. Let's just call it the universe.
Oh, that's space.
Yeah, space. And so everything in the universe can be beautiful, like flowers. Aren't they beautiful? That's heaven. When you smell the scent of a flower, doesn't it smell delicious?
Yes.
That's heaven.
Delicious.
Well, you know.
You want to eat it?
Well, no, I mean, delicious means good. Delicious doesn't always have to be food. So guys, this was a lovely lesson. I really enjoyed sharing this lesson with you guys. You guys are really smart. You all know so much. 5 years ago, because we lived in projects, and I used to knock.
It's hard dealing with Grandma being gone. Like Uncle Khalid once said, life's experiences may never be as easy as you want them to be, but will always be as hard as you make it. Grandma's sun has set on this life, but it's just beginning in the next. And we feel this poem, written by our Uncle Gary, captures the essence of this quite well.
I close my eyes just to open them again in another life on the opposite side of the sunset. My baggage left at the door, my life debts paid in full. I look behind me and see the little girl standing in the doorway. I kneel down to be closer to her. What a lovely sight she is, radiant, beautiful, and brave. I weep as I look into her eyes, and she smiles and wipes my tears away.
Her smile is a gateway, a key unlocking the truth of my regrets. She hugs me as I apologize for the life that I thought I'd ruined, had wasted. And with a glance, she forgives me. All is forgiven. All is calmed. She touches my empty socket and my eyes reappear. She touches my head and my imagination returns. She touches my chest and my heart beats once more. Love, she says, just that one word, love. She pointed into the distance and I turned from her. I stood up to see the sun rising from its hibernation, its slumber. We held hands as it ascended high, bright and strong.
And as I felt its warmth sweep over me, that sweet, delicate embrace, I looked down to see the girl gone. But I felt her strength within my bones and her courage within my veins. I spent years looking upon my childhood as a separate journey. I'd spent so many years detached from the child that I was. It took love to remember, love to forgive, love to connect with who I was, love to see. I left that doorway and I did not look back.
Grandma, with the gift of years comes the treasure of knowing that there are many who love you dearly. The memories you've made with us will last forever. The tenderness you shared with us will never fade. The most wonderful gift you could ever give is the special part of you that now lives in each of us. And the truth your love has taught us can only be strengthened by the gift of time. For where roots grow deep, memories grow forever.
You weren't like other grandmothers who let their age impact their way of life. You continued doing the things you loved until the very end. Always active, always vibrant, and always ready to bring a smile to my face. Grandma, your full life touched so many. You will never be forgotten.
We live when we can let go. We love when we can hold on to what means most. We learn when we can remember what we let go and why we need the courage to hold on.
And now we open the mic for reflection.
Good evening, everyone. Family and friends, it's good to see everybody. I am Aunt Jumoke's great niece, and I'm here to read a poem on behalf of my grandmother, who is her sister, Medina Salim. My sister Mokes was creative and kind, so very much in tune with her mind. She listened to your concerns with a very close ear, making sure she understood and that she could hear. She was very outspoken when there was a need to be, yet she was very humble, that you can see. She was very classy with the clothes she would wear and well put together along with her hair. She's with us right now, we can all see. So now she is truly free. We love you, Aunt Jumoke. From Medina Salim. Thank you.
What makes a great mother in love? I ask because I know. I had one. And I know that on another plane that transcends space and time, my sisters, we still do. I feel blessed to have been mothered by several great women throughout the various stages of my life. Aunts who are watching via live stream today, and Jumoke, who stepped into my life as I was entering adulthood. Jumoke was one of the most intriguing life forces that I've ever met. And when Mark introduced us for the first time, I still remember the kind and gentle words that she said to me, and how she pulled me into the biggest and warmest and most genuine embrace, welcoming me as one of her own. At the very young and impressionable age that I was, I had never met anyone like her. We were very different, but yet very alike in so many ways. I loved how she loved, how this family loves. You saw it, you heard it, you felt it, and not just personally, but how she cast her light upon everyone within her sphere. The way that she loved her children. You all gave her life and purpose, and were her reasons for being. Even though you're all grown up and have your own families, she continued to nurture and support. Quiet as kept. I'm not sure if my husband ever fully weaned. She loved her grandchildren. From the first one to the last one, she made it a priority to be involved and to make her presence known. We both loved a good, deep discussion. And one of my most favorite things early on was when she would say, let's process this. Processing was when we would all sit around the dining room table and break down various topics. We explored all of our natural and learned impulses, why we think the things we think, and why we do the things that we do. It was a moment to hold a mirror to ourselves and an opportunity to get to know ourselves a little deeper, all in a safe and loving space. The gypsy that she was, steeped in mysticism and all of her astrological knowledge, these conversations centered on our horoscopes and the wisdom that resides in the alignment of the cosmos. One of her favorite lines was, now that's deep. A good old conversation is something that we both shared. I'm a water sign, she was fire. I'm more introverted, her not so much. I'm not big on small talk. I like to get right down to business and to the point. Jumoke liked to take her time and massage the situation a little bit to ensure everyone was heard. Even if she did not necessarily agree, you had her undivided attention regardless of the outcome. And at the end, you always felt lighter. She was sentimental, where I am not. Just looking around her home with many aspects and pieces of her interest strewn throughout, every piece holding some sort of value, whether a bauble dangling from a picture, a small rock upon the piano, a dream catcher strategically placed, or the vast amount of photos and art pieces that covered nearly every inch of her walls. She saw the meaning in just about everything. She was small in stature, but so large in personality, so broad in her generosity, so expansive was her well of love and depth of compassion. There was nothing that she would not do for you if it was within her ability. She was small but mighty. She told me once that she wished she had my courage and the drive that I had at my age, which I thought was crazy because I saw a lot of courage in her. I admired her for her thoughtfulness and how that showed up, whether it was a bouquet of flowers on Mother's Day, a handmade card with cutout photo images, or word of cheer and encouragement just because. I admired her honesty, and I don't ever recall her hearing I was wrong, or that anyone was ever wrong about anything. But I recall her saying to the effect of, have you thought about it this way? Or if that's what they believe, that's their truth. Every time I see a cardinal, I think of her. When I see one now while I'm out on my morning run or stroll, I find myself whispering, good morning, Jumoke. And the wee hours of the morning, when I arise for morning meditation and light the candles in our ancestor altar, and I scan all of the faces present there in remembrance, my mother, my grandfather, Bernadette, Supan, Yabo, and many others. When I come to Jumoke's picture, I have a hard time letting go. I still find myself questioning the fact that she's there. It feels as if it was too soon, we weren't ready, it wasn't her time. Then my higher self steps in and reminds me that we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. This earthly realm is not our home. This body is not our real selves. The pain of loss is real, yet the intensity of our grief is temporary. I am reminded that she is still here, counted among all of those that have gone before us, that continue to provide a watchful eye, and that unbroken chain of love, that everlasting love. I recently heard that our loved ones who have transitioned are now in a much better position to help us. They are not bound by the circumstances and limitations of this life. They are free to help and guide us with all of the great wisdom that each of them lived and learned before us, should we call upon them. The saying is that people won't remember what you do or say, but they will remember how you made them feel. And this family, I know, is what we all will truly miss, is how Jumoke made each of us feel. That is something that I will forever hold on to and carry forth.
Family, I would like to say my salutations, peace, blessings, and greetings upon you. Salutations, peace, and blessings upon your mother. May she transcend in the highest form.
I'm just going to make this short and sweet. My name is Kai Ayutoro. Jumoke was my best friend, and I believe that I was her best friend. I lived in California 11 years ago, and I was not knowing what I was going to do after my job ended. And she said to me, just come to Baltimore and make it your last stop. But I didn't realize that that last stop would be losing her or not being with her. I've been with this family for a long time, over 30 years. And I don't have a mother, well, I had one, but my parents are deceased and I have no siblings. So all of you are my family, and I love you, and you know I love Jumoke. She was just my ride and die. And when we were in radio, the first show that we did together was The Spirit of Ma'at. And it was DJ and Jumoke and Kai in the background. So that's why I'm not the one that says a lot of words. It was DJ and Jumoke who had the wisdom and the strength to say what was needed to be said over the airwaves. I'm just gonna leave it there. I love you all. I'm so happy to see you again. It's been, what, 3 years since we've been together. And I hope to spend a lot more time with you.
Good evening, everyone. To the Boston family, job well done.